This is a great choice for people who want a Super 73 bike but can't quite afford the full suspension version. So you get a good budget-friendly, full suspension, Super 73 lookalike. It's a moped-style e-bike. It's got a UL certified battery, and it's got full suspension, speeds up to 28 miles per hour, and 20 by 4-inch tires. I'm calling this Yadea. Some people are saying it's Yadea. You tell us how to say this, because we called the company and they didn't even know. The box came to us in great shape. It's very big. A little bit of damage here. I think the bike should be okay. Yeah, not too crazy. Let's get this bad boy open. Can I wrap my arms around it? Oh. Pedals, instruction manual, screwdriver, and one little wrench. Pretty big battery. 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery, so 960 watt hours. Looks like this is probably the charger. This is a 20 amp hour battery, so it should take a little bit under 7 hours to charge from empty to full. Keep hitting these big bolts for these stem pieces lately. This thing is big and thick. Like big bolts, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Solid. How's that headlight? It's pretty decent for an e-bike. This one is very bright in the center and has a decent spread. The vertical spread, it could definitely be improved, but overall pretty decent. The other cool thing is, I don't know if you can see that on video, but the headlight is actually the logo. So we've got it all set up. We're gonna get it all charged up, get on our safety gear, and take the Yadea for a test spin. We have been riding the Yadea Trooper 1 on this beautiful day. I think we need to stop here, enjoy the scenery, and enjoy this moped-style e-bike. Moped-style e-bikes have been all the rage. They're fun, they look great, they're also very functional. And Andrew's gonna show us how this e-bike works. Yeah, let's start with the cockpit. You have the Velo handlebar grips, thumb throttle. You've got a display on the right side that looks very similar to what's on the Super 73s. Tektro hydraulic brake levers, a light button, and a horn. The light in front is surprisingly pretty decent, and it's got the Yadea logo built inside of it. RST suspension, plastic fender, CST BFT 20 by 4-inch tire, 180 millimeter brake disc with 2-piston Tektro hydraulic brakes. Moving towards the center, you have a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery, so 960 watt hours. A basket that's in the center. This is pretty nice. It's built into the frame. Pretty big saddle in the rear. This is one of the wider ones we've ever seen, and longer ones too. Different design, and ultimately pretty soft. In the rear, you have a brake light, rear fender with reflector, another CST BFT tire that's 20 by 4 inches, and another set of 180 millimeter brake discs with 2-piston Tektro hydraulic brakes. This is a 750 watt motor. Didn't really tell me what the peak output was, but I've been able to get up to 32 miles per hour. And the display isn't working correctly because I unlocked it to go faster, and for some reason the settings is only showing that I'm going like 5 to 6 kilometers an hour, but I've been going 32 miles per hour based off of what Jimmy's seeing on the veteran links. There's also a coil suspension in the rear. It's pretty stiff. The front is also pretty stiff as well. You can adjust this top thing so it's not so tight, or you can tighten it down if you're wanting it to be more stiff, but not a lot of adjustment on the fly, and you'd have to actually drop out the suspension to adjust it. We're gonna keep riding. At our next stop, we're gonna talk about the things that we love about this bike. Okay, we are going to test out those Tektro hydraulic brakes. I do like Tektro hydraulic brakes. They work very well. That stopped pretty quickly. Yeah, you started right around that expansion crack there. So yeah, 15 feet. Yeah, that was going a good, pretty close to 30 miles per hour. I'd say about 27, but pretty impressive. And I saw you were pedaling your heart out. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the things that we love about the Yadea. Aesthetically, it's a beautiful bike. It reminds me of the cafe racer motorcycles of the 60s and 70s. I really love the look of the bike. To me, it reminds me of the Super 73 bike, and I really like what they've done with this empty space here. I like that they put a basket there. The front light surprisingly works pretty decent for an e-bike. Most e-bikes have lights that don't work very good. This one does have a pretty bright output. These e-bikes in this class, they're very functional in addition to looking good. Andrew is zipping down the road going 30 plus miles an hour. So really cool that a bike can go that fast. How did it feel while you were riding, Andrew? Felt ultra stable, and I did like that I could go up to 32 miles per hour with just the throttle without having to pedal into it. Bikes always typically feel pretty solid at higher speeds, but the one thing that bikes will happen to have that's weird about them is sometimes when you let go of one hand, the front end starts to shimmy and shake. This one felt rock solid even at going at higher speeds. The front RST suspension works well. The Tetra hydraulic brakes offer great stopping power. The saddle is a little bit oversized but feels really nice underneath the butt. He's not wrong. Oversized saddle for oversized butt. Just like all the other moped style e-bikes, you can't adjust the seat height, but because it's such a big saddle and it's longer than just a regular bike seat, you're able to scoot yourself forward and back to adjust your position. And the pedals are pretty nice. They're metal pedals and they're heavier duty. A lot of bikes come with plastic pedals or lightweight metal ones that I just don't like. And the battery's pretty decently sized. It's a 20 amp hour battery. So this thing not only looks good and it's not only fun to ride, but it is very functional. It can keep up with traffic and it's great for commuting when you're going from A to B. That's the beauty of these moped style e-bikes. So the competition is certainly heating up. Super73 used to dominate this moped style e-bike space, and now we have a bunch of these other e-bikes that are just as capable, if not more, for very competitive pricing. We're going to keep riding, and at our next stop we're going to talk about what we don't like about this e-bike. Let's talk about what we don't like about this bike. One issue with this bike is it doesn't have a lot of bottom end torque. And what I mean by that is right now I've got the motor and the tire placed up against this curb. And if I just go to try to throttle out of this, you can see it kind of engages, but it doesn't want to go up. I'm in the highest speed setting. And so if I take my weight off of it, I can get it to go, but with my weight on it, it doesn't even budge. I'm not sure if they can fix that with a software issue, but once it gets rolling, it's perfectly fine. It's just that bottom end torque is pretty lacking. The other issue I have with it is in order for me to unlock the top speed, I had to basically adjust all the P settings to where the display doesn't really show me my real speed. I had to ask Jimmy how fast I was going by verifying what he was doing on the Veteran Lynx electric unicycle, and that's how I knew I was going 32 miles per hour. On the display it said I was going 5 kilometers an hour, and I was definitely going faster. The front wire cable management I think can be improved. It just seems like there's a lot going on here. They have these little clips to keep things organized, but in general I feel like these wires are a little bit more messy than I'd like for a bike of this price. I said I really like having this basket here filling this empty space. The problem with this basket is there's no cover. The rear suspension is really stiff. In order to adjust this, I actually have to drop it out and change the preload on that spring. I would like for it to be an adjustable suspension or not set as stiff to begin with. The other issue I have is with the gearing system. It's got a really small chain ring. Once you go past 12 miles per hour, you can't really put any pressure into pedaling. So this bike is meant to be using mostly throttle, but it's nice to have some type of resistance to add some type of pressure and get some exercise. We're going to keep riding, and while we finish up our ride, we're going to talk about who we think should get this bike. This horn is really weak. Pedestrians will even have an issue hearing it. Yeah, I don't know if there's a setting to increase the volume on that, but it is pretty quiet. The electric moped e-bike space has really heated up. Super73 has led the way, but now there is a lot of competition with a lot of bikes just like this Yadea Trooper. Andrew, why would someone consider getting this over one of the Super73 options? This is great because the throttle allows you to go up to a max speed of 33 miles per hour when I weigh 220 pounds. Got a fairly large battery at 20 amp hours and a decent light. So you're definitely getting a lot more for your money, and in my opinion, I like the aesthetic of this Yadea. So Andrew, let's finish off with, who do you think should get this bike? This is a great choice for people who want a Super73 bike but can't quite afford the full suspension version. So you get a good budget-friendly, full suspension Super73 lookalike. If you guys have any other questions, check out our full written review at freshlycharged.com. There we have the world's biggest database and comparison guide table on electric bikes. So check it out, freshlycharged.com. Thanks for watching, and when you guys ride, wear your safety gear.